Alright everyone, and so I've seen Lilo and Stitch. This is the newest Disney live action remake, and this is the retelling of the classic animated movie. And let me just tell you, I think of all the remakes, I think this is the best one that they've done in a while. And especially for what I'm about to say, that this will be my full non-spoiler review, give you guys my impressions, my thoughts, and even if making comparisons to the animated movie aside from the tiny changes that they were made there and there, but I still have positive things to say on it, especially with the dynamic and the chemistry, especially between Lilo and Stitch, and so much more to talk about right here, right now as well. And so, if you're new there, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so I'm inside any future videos, including movie reviews and more stuff like that. But now, let's hop into this. And now, I will say this, when it comes to Disney live-action remakes these days, especially as you all know, that with the other live-action remake that came out this year with Snow White, that was very controversial, but with this live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch, this is a retelling of the classic anime movie that people love so much as their childhood. But even though I did not grow up on the anime movie since I don't have nostalgia for it, but I went to this with like an open mind, and I gotta say, I was impressed. They really nailed it. They really did. And even for how they wanted to approach this in like a live action storytelling standpoint, as a retelling of the same story, as people fell in love with the anime movie that they love it so much, and even with Stitch, who is one of the most iconic Disney movie characters of all time. Out of everything that they have pulled off, and I can tell that they did a really great job, and they did not mess this up. I'm really telling you, like, they did a great job of wanting to approach this in live actions, especially with people that were worried about how Disney was wanting to touch one of the classic anime movies that is so iconic and turn it into live action. Plus, it is adorable, it is so cute, and just with Stitch, of course, they did not mess up. I really liked the design of Stitch, and with the way that Disney wanted to approach this version of the character, wanted to make it presentable for audiences, and just for how they were going to treat this version of the character. And I think it is really brilliant for the way that they pulled it off. And also, if you know the plot of the movie, that is with Lilo, who's a lonely Hawaiian girl that makes friends with Stitch, who is the fugitive alien that has been sent to Earth and who is labeled Experiment 626, trying to mend her broken family, and that is basically the main premise. And for how they wanted to do this, and basically in a live action standpoint, and this is, I was really impressed by it. They really nailed everything, and even with Chris Sanders that voices Stitch, that also directed the anime movie, who also came back to do this, who's also very involved in it, and they really wanted to be careful of trying to approach this for audiences to not make a hate on it. This is what I really liked about it, and it really took its time to set up the main story between our main characters, Lilo and Stitch, and especially for how it is formed, especially this is with Lilo that becomes attached to Stitch, who is this alien that has been sent to Earth, and also to set up that kind of dynamic and chemistry between the two. And even for what Lilo and Stitch pull off in live action, it is basically so cute, it is so adorable, and with Maya Kahola, who is very brilliant and a delight to portray the character of Lilo, and especially what the character stands for and what it represents. It is truly fascinating to see this, and especially for what her character goes through and the traits and for what lessons that she learns along the way, and even with the chemistry that she shares with Stitch, it is truly so adorable, and I think people are going to definitely love her after this movie. And just for how they were able to pull off the Lilo and Stitch chemistry in live action with the adventures that they go on, it is really truly something, and they really want to make this really special, and I think it is really special for how they pulled this off. Trust me, some changes were made, and I think I was really impressed with the rest of the story for how much it progresses. But even with the flaws and changes that I understand that were made, certainly I was not a fan of or had issues with, and also that is specifically towards the end. But even though I'm not sure if I was going to be worried about that, but I think that they did a great job from the first two acts alone. But, and also with Lilo and Nani, I'm pretty sure like that bond and dynamic with them as sisters, it is truly amazing. certainly they picked the right actors to portray these characters. Certainly, it's not like forced, but it is truly perfect for the way that they wanted to approach this movie. And we learn later down the line that with Jumba and Pleaky that were sent to capture Stitch and to bring them back to the ship where he's being experimented on. And that's where I definitely had issues with this, especially if I want to draw comparisons to the animated movie, and that was a simple story, but with the live action movie, and I understand that there were changes that they were made with the live action movie for how if it's a shot for shot remake, but I understand the changes that they were made, but trust me, it does not hold back. It really gets to make us feel attached to these characters for what they had to go through, and I think it is certainly developed in such the right way. Even from beginning to end, I was really impressed, and even though I got emotions, I mean, it is so adorable. Like, I can't stop looking at Stitch because for the way that he was pulled off, and trust me, it is not like an ugly Sonic situation. They definitely nailed the design of Stitch perfectly with Chris Sanders, and I'm pretty sure he definitely had a vision for the live action retelling of the story. But just out of everything alone, but with the changes and flaws that they were had, but it still made this movie a lot more enjoyable, and it also added probably a new layer in a meaning, because this is one of those movies that are tough to pull off in a live action, especially if you have an animated movie that's so iconic that you do not want it to be touched. And for me, as a person, as I approach this as a viewer from the audience, but this is simply a remake. I think it is a clear winner for Disney, and I think this is the best live action remake that they put out in a while. They really took their time with this, and I think Stitch is really going to be a crowd pleaser after this movie. I mean, the character is so iconic, and I think they definitely nailed this in live action. And I can definitely understand that with the character of Jumba, and for the way that these two creatures were pulled off in live action. And if you know Jumba from the animated movie, for what he's doing in this version of the live action remake, he definitely has a different role that I really don't want to get into here, but they did make changes with the character. And with the issue that I have, that I'll leave you with this, is that they cut out a major character who was the antagonist from the original movie, but who was nowhere to be seen in this live action version. But I totally understand why that they did that, but it's just frustrating. But yeah, they were changes, and that's what I wanted to address. But again, I don't want to draw any comparisons, but it is a great movie as it is, and I think families with kids that will really enjoy the heck out of this movie, especially if you grew up loving Lilo and Stitch, the classic anime movie, or if you watched it, or you have kids that really want to fall in love with this new generation of Lilo and Stitch. I think you'll enjoy it as well. So yeah, I guess for my final thoughts and consensus, and I really enjoyed this live action retelling of Lilo and Stitch. I enjoyed the dynamic, the chemistry, the characters, and the bond that these characters have, for the way that it unfolds, or how they wanted to approach this type of storytelling, with all the live action stuff that went down, especially with the changes that they were made. But again, it is a good movie as it is, and I totally recommend it to anyone that is looking to watch this, and especially if you're looking for a good Disney movie, this is the one for you. But that's gonna do it for this video. Just let me know in the comments below, and if you've seen Lilo and Stitch, the live action remake, let me know in the comments down below what you think of it, and how would you rate it 1 out of 10. I'm curious to hear your opinion. Just let me know it all in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to know notifications about future videos. Also follow all my social medias, all linked down below. And with that, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.